Hello, Andrew Wasson here from CreativeGuitarStudio.com. Thanks a lot for joining me on the Andrew Wasson YouTube channel for another one of my weekly videos here. To get started with, I just wanted to mention some of the videos that came out on the official YouTube channel of Creative Guitar Studio this past week. The first one is called the G Major Chord Secret, and how you can use it in different kinds of licks and riffs and chord building ideas along the neck. It's a really cool video on I call it secret, but it's kind of like a concept really of how the G chord can be pulled across the guitar neck and used in a whole bunch of different ways. It's very cool. Another one I did that was part of our Friday Patreon Plus, and that just means that any tier over on the Patreon channel for Creative Guitar Studio can access this particular lesson plan that comes out on each Friday. And it's all about this beautiful acoustic triad idea. It's a very popular idea on acoustic guitar. A lot of famous bands use it. It's a lot of fun to apply, and it's actually really simple to use, so you can definitely check that video out. And if you're a Patreon member, you're going to get a handout. Speaking of Patreon, all of my main video releases on YouTube have very in-depth Patreon releases that coincide with them, so you get like an MP3 jam track, a second video, and a really nice PDF handout for each one. Now, the last post that I've just made recently on the Creative Guitar Studio YouTube channel is a post called Play This 3-String Riff Every Night for 3 Days. It is a really cool video on how you can use just 3 strings of the guitar with 2-note harmonies riding above a lower string set and to create some incredible music. The comments so far off of it have been really good, and also the people commenting and into the studio by sending in just basically a contact form message have been really great, really positive. So I had a lot of fun putting that lesson together. I think you're going to like it quite a lot. Okay, anyway guys, let's get into this week's video, and what I'm going to be talking about really is like the truth about guitar college. You know, is it worth it? Should you go? What are some parameters you can think about in terms of going? Obviously, for a lot of you, it may be something that you're pursuing to take on right now. Maybe for other people, it's just guitar is just something for fun. You have no interest at all in any kind of career or teaching or anything that, in that line of work. But, overall, there's some things you need to consider if you're going to go the route of guitar college, and there's some things maybe that you should, avoid if you don't, want to go a certain direction or path in life. So I guess the first thing to think about is, what does a career in music mean to you? Because if you're going to go to guitar college or music college, you're probably pursuing a career in music. So what does that mean to you? For some people, it's like performing in a band on stage. For other people, it's, maybe composing, doing some work for, online, maybe doing some teaching, and each of these directions for your career in music is going to have take on a different light. And it may be valuable to go to music college, and it may not be. So for me, the big factor would be, number one, are you planning on teaching? Are you going to get students? Are you going to work locally teaching? Are you going to try and run maybe like a online business teaching? If you're teaching, I think it's a really good idea to go to music college, because you get the complete foundation of music. You understand everything, and you can expertly talk about it. And hey, if you make a bit of a mistake while you're talking about it to somebody, you're going to catch that mistake right away and correct yourself and make sure that you give the person you're talking to good information. Now, what about the other end of it? What if your goal is to be a performing musician? Is it still worth going to music college? Well, I mean, yeah, it could be a really good, thing if you go for performance school, like maybe Guitar Institute of Technology or maybe Berklee College of Music, where the emphasis is on performance and building you skills that you can take live to the stage. I mean, those particular schools are excellent at developing those abilities in people. But maybe if you're just, not going to, want to spend that kind of money and take that route, maybe, just if you have a lot of practice time, you can really work with a teacher, really develop your skills to go on stage, get in a lot of bands, get the experience, maybe get a band and go on tour. It's going to happen for you. It's all about the dedication. Which kind of brings us to another whole question here of like, what is it that ultimately makes a musician successful? And I think personally is if you're making a pretty darn good living at it. If you can end up making I guess about 4, 5, 6, 7,000 bucks a month, something around those terms, doing gigs, doing recordings, maybe getting some teaching going on, maybe other jobs, in the music industry, and you're making some decent money, I think you're successful. You don't have to be the next biggest thing and have a bank account with $5 million in it, or that doesn't happen to very many people. But I mean, if you're making a good living and you can pay your rent on an apartment, or maybe get a down payment for a house, maybe you can, you have a car, all these kind of things, you're doing all right. Like what's wrong, there? To me, that's successful. You've built a life around being a musician. You're pressing down on guitar strings if you're a guitar player. That's pretty cool. So anyway, back to music college, those ideas. The thing I think that happens with people when they go to music college is a lot of times people don't end up going in a career in music. I noticed that with a lot of the people that I went to music college with, and I kept in touch with them over the years. A lot of them are not musicians. They do not make their living playing guitar or making music, that kind of thing. So how many graduates of colleges actually go on in life, 25 years later, and are actually musicians in life? Not a lot. I don't even know if it would be 50%. It's a pretty small number. But for back when I went to music college in 1991. So I mean, everything was cheap. It was easy to go to music college. It didn't cost much. I had a couple old cars at the time when I was about 19 or 20 years old. Sold them, borrowed some money from my parents, and went to music college. It wasn't that big of a deal. Nowadays, I mean, with inflation and how crazy everything's costs for doing anything now, you almost got to be fairly well off to be able to go to music college. So there's a cost factor there. But what does it really give you? Like when you graduate and you're done music college, I think personally it gives you kind of the ability to run the balancing act, where you understand the security that's there for being a musician. You've got the skills to maintain it. You're feeling comfortable with what you do as a musician, and it's a good balance. Now you can go forward. You could do some teaching. You could do some recording. You could do some gigs. You could have a band. Maybe go on tour. Doing all kinds of work, and you feel comfortable because all those situations are things you got used to with doing at music college. So, I mean, could you go to music college and go all in and still not succeed? Of course. And like I had mentioned earlier, 50%, I'd say almost, of people who graduate from music college, they don't wind up being musicians. So you could go all in, and you might still not succeed at it. So the main thing, if you're smart, you want to watch that you don't go through, the next 10 years of your life with a worse quality of life. So, I mean, hey, life's tough. There's all kinds of, ups and downs. And will music college make things easier? Well, it depends. It depends on the individual. Successful musicians that I've seen over all my years in this business, they're people with great personalities. They're super easy to get along with. They're really talented. They're generally quite smart. They're very tuned in to what they need to do to have success. And they just pull it off. I think it's all in your personality, and you don't have to be an extrovert. You don't have to be, and there's no problem if you're an introvert. It's not that kind of stuff. You don't have to go and take a Myers-Briggs test and find out what personality quotas you fit into and all. It's just, if you see people that are super successful in this industry, they're just cool people. So just go out there and be cool with people, and be nice and give people respect right out of the gate, until maybe if they screw you around and they rip you off and they do crappy things to you, well, then just don't work with them anymore. Just walk away, and there's always some other group around. You can go work with those people instead. It's pretty straightforward. But I want to wrap things up with the video here by talking about, in my opinion, what it is that music college will really give you, for sure. If you go and stick it out and you go and graduate and all that stuff, and I think there's three factors. There's three important factors. It gives you the ability to compose because you know all your music theory. You can compose easily, and you can have your chops together to write stuff and come up with riffs and lines and musical elements. It gives you performing confidence. You know, I remember when I was going to Musicians Institute and I was on stage one time, they used to have, in the main auditorium, you'd have cameras that would come right up at you. This video camera would be right there and all. And I used to be intimidated a bit by that. And you kind of got used to it and all. And then about, 3 or 4 years later, I was in a band and we were on a television program. And I'm on the show and, we're live, actually. It was a live breakfast TV program. Camera comes right up to me and it was like, no big deal. That, totally was used to it. They used to do that to us at music college. So it was like, kind of clicked with me. It's like, that's why they used to do that stuff at college, because that's what happens if you're live on TV or something, And then the third thing, so remember, the first thing was the compositional skill, the theoretical knowledge, the ability to compose and write music easily and quickly. The second thing, of course, was the performance confidence, so you can get up on stage and play comfortably. And then the third thing is an excellence for music theory and knowledge of music overall. When you go to music college, you're going to take all kinds of different classes and learn tons of really great ideas, and there'll be all these students around you asking crazy questions that you never even thought of the teachers, and the teachers will answer them and give you more knowledge. And it's like you walk away from that and you have now the ability to explain and to teach very well. You could teach music and explain music at a high level of success and confidence. And those are, in my opinion, those are the three main things that going to a music college will actually give you. So anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up this video and leave you with that information. I do hope to catch up with you next week for another one of these posts. And another thing too, make sure you tune in to my Creative Guitar Studio YouTube channel. Go visit my website at creativeguitarstudio.com. You're going to love it. There's tons of stuff over there. And if you have any questions, hey, reach out. Leave comments under this video. And I look at them. I always check comments, see what's going on. And also you can reach out to me and my staff over at the website at creativeguitarstudio.com. There's a comment form over there, contact form. You can reach out to us. But otherwise, have a fantastic week, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye for now. With a free membership, you'll be able to access all the free lesson material, including a collection of 6 years of YouTube archives, where there are hundreds of videos, PDF handouts, and MP3 jam tracks. Plus, with a free membership, you'll gain access to the Quick Licks program, a 30-lesson course covering guitar licks in all playing styles across all types of scales and arpeggios. When you sign up for a paid membership, you'll get access to my core curriculum, including my beginner, intermediate, and advanced guitar programs. Plus, there's also my elective courses on the site, like acoustic guitar, guitar technique, guitar soloing, ear training, music reading, and many others. Go check it out. You're going to love it. The website is creativeguitarstudio.com.